Hey everyone, I'm Jay and I do stuff. I try to distance myself from the anti-Poke community, but it seems no matter how hard I try, I always keep coming back. A YouTuber by the name of CrasherPlays&Reacts made a challenge video for people in the Pokemon community to participate in. The challenge is for us to imagine ourselves in the Pokemon anime series. What our role would be, what Pokemon we would have, who our rivals would be, etc. Luckily for me, I've got all this down packed. However, at the time of this video, his original video was already a month or two old. Hope it's not too late for me. Anyways, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to give some additional insight on my character Jay. So I figured I'd join in on this challenge despite not being too into the Pokemon anime, but I digress. For this video, I'll be going over various facts and tidbits about my trainer persona Jay. He stars in my animatic series Jay and Porygon. Since I'll be going over things in future potential episodes, I'll be going over these pretty vaguely to avoid spoilers. There will be some, but not a whole lot. My character Jay, Japanese named Jinichi, a nod to Jinichi Masuda, is a Pokemon trainer who focuses on strange and unorthodox strategies for battle. He's 17 years old, is quite stubborn, and doesn't take crap from anybody. He's also one to stand up for the underdogs, using more uncommon Pokemon to their full potential and hates being called weak. Jay is very dedicated to his team of Pokemon and refuses to turn to the more common and strong Pokemon just to win, abandoning his friends. Jay hails from a currently undiscovered region. I live in Minnesota, so it'd be a more colder region up north.
I didn't know Vikings still existed!
They mostly live in Minnesota!
The closest existing region would be the Unova region, respectively, being based on New York. But in the meantime, let's call this theoretical region Mineo. After a bad experience in battle, Jay goes on his own journey across other regions to become stronger. For Jay's starter Pokemon, Jay doesn't have any typical starter Pokemon. I'm not sure if this breaks any of the rules, but Jay's first ever Pokemon was Porygon. Jay met Porygon back when his family traveled to the Kanto region when he was very young. Jay found Porygon near Celadon City's Game Corner when they were receiving Pokemon prize shipments. After a bit of hassle, Jay eventually kept the Porygon for himself. Effectively stealing it if you want to go with that. Porygon is my favorite Pokemon of all time. I like its design and move pool. You can argue that Porygon 2 and Porygon Z are better, but I like the original Porygon better and I do think it has potential of its own. Besides, for this kind of scenario, I feel it's quintessential to have a mascot Pokemon who's not fully evolved. Jay's next Pokemon would be Pinsir. I like its design, how it looks like a football with horns. Also, it has a cool Mega Evolution. Next is Rhydon. Rhydon is very interesting. It was one of the very first Pokemon ever created. It also has a pretty interesting move pool. It learns a bunch of elemental moves, most being special based, but there are a few physical elemental moves too. Jay's Rhydon knows Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, Bulldoze, and Aqua Tail. Jay then has a Kingdra. I've always loved the Horsey line. Plus, Dragon and Water is a beast typing. Next up is Shiny Steelix. Onix was the very first shiny I ever encountered and caught. Steelix is also really cool with very high defenses. Finally, for the main team, Jay has a Shuckle. Shuckle is always an interesting Pokemon. It has super high defenses. While it barely has any offensive presence, I think it makes a pretty great supporting team member. Now for the 3 Pokemon Jay has in rotation. Jay has way more Pokemon than the ones I just mentioned, but for this video I was only allowed to pick 3. First there's Hitmontop. I always liked Hitmontop, its design and whole gimmick of being a top. It has good defenses and makes a pretty good support. Next in line is Toucannon. While it might not be as good as other regional birds, it's really strong and has the skill link ability alongside moves like Bullet Seed and Rock Blast. Fun fact, Jay's toucanon is the same one who raised Ash's Rowlet. Once all the Pikipek and Trumbeak left the nest, Toucanon joined Jay on his team. Lastly is Ribombee. Ribombee's pretty good. It's super fast, it has a cool signature move in Paw and Puff that heals teammates, and is overall a really good attacker and support. As for the characteristics for Jay's Pokemon, Porygon is the main star. Porygon has a very easygoing attitude and it always does what it's told. It honestly doesn't care that much about winning battles, but it gives its absolute best on the field just for Jay. Pinsir is very determined and plays rough. It gets super serious and pulls no punches in battle. It gets especially happy once Mega Evolved, gaining much more extra power. Rhydon likes to fight and is very proud of its elemental powers. It also likes to get the surprise on opponents with its unique abilities. Kingdra is very reserved and dignified when battling. It thinks it's too good to have playful fun and takes battles very seriously, focusing its power to ensure every hit lands directly. Jay's Steelix is very fancy and proud of its golden sheen. It's so enticing that it tends to infatuate opponents, making them hesitant to attack. Shuckle is the baby of the group. It was found as an egg at a daycare. Shuckle is very close with Porygon. They can even team up to where Shuckle rides on Porygon's back like a backpack as it assists and boosts Porygon's stats. Jay is a run-of-the-mill Pokemon trainer from the tentative Mineo region. He got his Porygon on a trip to Kanto at a young age. He then proceeded to attend school for a good chunk of his youth. However, one day in high school, he was challenged to a battle by a fellow student. His Porygon lost to their Pikachu and Flareon. After that, they were caught Pokemon battling on school grounds. Jay was accused of initiating the battle and thus was suspended. After that, Jay was ridiculed and harassed, calling him and his Porygon weak. He was also made an outcast for the rest of his school years. After graduating, Jay took it upon himself to set out on his own journey, vowing to make his Porygon the strongest Pokemon not in the region, not in the world, but in all existence. Something to note is that out of all the methods of getting stronger, Jay refuses to evolve his Porygon, reasons being that he's become too attached to it as is. He's also had experience upgrading computer programs and having them not work as well anymore. Also, since both Porygon 2 and Porygon Z are trait evolutions, Jay can't bear to part with his precious Porygon for even a second. So there's your justification as to why Jay uses a regular Porygon of all Pokemon. With the origins out of the way, Jay ventures out to different regions to train and discover new ways of becoming powerful. Admittedly, Jay kinda goes through a descent of madness, starting out as rather timid, to becoming more and more obsessed with becoming stronger. However, he never truly loses sight about what's important around him, doing what he thinks is right regardless of whether people like it or not. He tends to say things as they are. Now to skip around to various key points in Jay's journey. At one point, Jay travels to the Alola region to gain the power of Z moves. Normally, to even get a Z-Ring to utilize Z-moves, you'd have to give the Island Kahuna some sort of physiological reason as to why you deserve one. But for Jay, he first met up with the Island Kahuna Nanu. He asked nicely for a Z-Ring and Nanu was like, yeah, sure. Later, Jay was on Akala Island having a battle with the Water Trials totem Pokemon Wishiwashi. However, there was a huge storm at the time, and then a huge tidal wave swept Jay and his Porygon out to the sea. They both became washed ashore the Pokepelago Islands where they met Moan. From there, Jay and Porygon help out Moan on the islands. One day, however, Moan spots a shining light in the distance when suddenly a Z-Crystal flies out onto the beach. Moan then gives it to Jay. This was a special Z-Crystal called Porium Z. It's for Porygon's own signature Z-move, Override Data Conversion. It works kinda like Extreme Evo Boost, where it boosts all your stats by 2 stages. except it also changes Porygon's typing to the type of the first move it knows. You can see this, as well as how things further play out in my animatic video on the top corner. After all that, Jay heads out to the Galar region after hearing that the strongest champion in the world resides there. However, much to his disappointment, Jay finds out that Leon has already been dethroned from his champion title. Jay then goes to challenge Leon anyway at the battle tower. There he takes on Leon with his Porygon. Unfortunately, Jay's Dynamax Porygon loses to the effects of Charizard's G-Max Wildfire. And that's all I'm gonna say because spoilers. Aside from that, Jay goes on other various adventures, like facing off against a giant robotic Pokemon at the Viridian City Gym in Kanto, and maybe running into a few strong, notable trainers along the way. In terms of traveling companions, Jay would have no one. Jay mainly travels with just his Pokemon. He wants to focus all his time and energy on getting his Pokemon stronger. He has no time for annoying side characters who have goals that don't even add much of anything to the main plot. In terms of rivals, Jay makes a number of enemy rivals along his travels. Some of which include Gladion, and even Lily he considers one of his strongest rivals despite not being a primary battler. He also wants to exceed Leon in power despite being an ex-champion. Other rivals include some of the more overpowered big shot trainers like Alon and maybe Paul. Jay does have ambitions, sky-high ambitions. Maybe even crosses roads with the likes of Ash Ketchum? I don't know. I guess that would be inevitable, huh? That's pretty much all I have for Jay in the meantime. Now I guess I have to tag 5 people, huh? For those, I pick no one. I've never really been one to tag people, to be honest. But hey, to those watching the video, you're more than welcome to do this challenge yourself and call yourselves tagged. That said, I hope you all stay tuned to see what other stuff Jay gets himself and his Porygon into. I work hard on my animatics and I want to use them to shill out Porygon as much as I can. Pokemon certainly isn't going to do it themselves after all. Anywho, that's all I've got, so I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Thank you for watching the video. If you'd like to be notified about when I upload a new video, click that subscribe button and also click the little bell icon next to it. I'd love to show my video projects to as many people as I can.